I heard about it in my African American Studies class. My teacher told me.
A week after he got murdered, when I was at my job.
Yeah, we talked about it in our African American music culture class.
I actually heard about Kendrick Johnson's death immediately.
That they found the young man wrapped up in a wrestling mat at Lowndes High School.
A friend of mine that was still in high school at the time, they texted me as I was going to get some lunch that day saying, hey, I just heard a kid got killed in the high school. We're on lockdown right now.
Beginning of February, I started hearing that there may be something more than just a kid dying in a gym.
I felt like he was murdered. Like, how did he end up in a wrestling mat by himself, and then he ended up looking like that when they pulled him out? So,
and it started to make sense that he did not do that. That he had to have been murdered.
I heard it, I was like, tragic, boy, tragic.
They just felt that the sheriff got it right. And they felt like they needed evidence and more information to say otherwise.
It was like it was an accident, and I was like, that doesn't seem like it would be an accident. Nobody can just be in the mat by themselves, and no one's there to help them.
Then they say that they had rebuilt the gym and whatnot, trying to cover that up. So why people still go in the gym? Why people still go in that gym? No matter if it's rebuilt or not, why people still go in that gym?
I'm Jamari. I graduated from Lowndes High, class of 2013. And I was there on the event of the KJ. I got to school kind of late, so I tried to go to the old gym, and it's like shut down. Like they had already found the body and all that. While I was trying to find my class, I got on Twitter, and that's how I initially found out about it. And everybody was just shocked. His parents came up to the school and all that. It was a big uproar at the school, so like it was no way for anybody not to know about it. How to feel at the time. They found a dead body at school. That's not something you hear about it normally. Everybody knew it was a murder from the beginning, really. I heard of somebody just popping up dead, face messed up, and then the GBI just saying it's an accident.
And I guess as the details emerged, like what did it have you thinking? Or
A lot of cover-up. Just a lot of fishiness going on, because the coroner stated that he didn't get there until 3 hours after the body was found, and Georgia state law says that the coroner is supposed to be first on scene, first to touch the body at all, and when he'd gotten there, the scene had been completely cleaned up, the body had been moved, and that's been unrolled. Just a lot of cover-up and a lot of wrongdoing going on there. Something's being covered up.
I've seen the fingerprints on who touched the mat. You can't just roll yourself in a mat. Somebody got to roll you up. So it's stupid to me.
why didn't they do that stuff?
Black people is being hated right about now. That ain't going nowhere. That ain't going nowhere.
Is that?
I don't want to see nobody make it.
Seeing the pictures of his face, I heard of like a minor was hanging upside down for like a week before he died. He was just hanging there, not even a full 24 hours, and they claim he died from that. That makes no sense. And your face would not look like that just from blood rushing to your head. Not like that. Not after less than 24 hours.
Story, I'll never forget hearing that story for the first time. The room was completely quiet for almost 20 seconds after he stopped talking, because I think everybody was just, blown away of the idea that somebody could have beat Kendrick up and wrapped him up or rolled him up in a mat, and for authorities to be involved in the cover-up. So that, just the concept of that was just crazy. Very shocking and moving at the same time.
With this case,
People know it's something wrong. Everybody knows it's something wrong. They're not going to admit it, and they keep secrets in Valdosta. That's known. It's known that Valdosta keeps secrets.
I feel like seeing as it is down in the Deep South, there has been some race issues. There doesn't need to be, because it's the untimely death of a young teenager. That's what it needs to be looked at as. But because you're on the Deep South, there's going to be some racism on both sides. And that's the unfortunate truth about society down here.
Hopefully it's not, but I mean, once you look at the evidence and they picking up on this and that, it kind of leads toward it. So
Lowndes low-key is racist, low-key. It just really is. Everybody segregated from each other. You can see all the black kids in one spot if you go to Lowndes. Just go outside in the courtyard by F-Wing. You're gonna see all the black kids. They got kind of, N-word friendly at Lowndes, really. Lowndes. If they hung around a lot of black people, they just love to say that word a lot.
But that's just how crazy it is here. That's just how ridiculous, and it's kind of sad. But at the same time, you have to understand the history of African Americans being intimidated, African American leaders being ran out of this area, and it's kind of a mentality thing. It's kind of like you won't see the oppression or the racism because it's so well cleaned up here. The mask is so put on here, but it's almost disgusting. As you said, there's so much evidence. How can you not believe that the death of Kendrick Johnson wasn't a murder?
I grew up in this town. I used to feel safe here, and over the past 3 or 4 years, I developed a habit of looking over my shoulder every time I go outside, day or night. And I don't like that feeling in the city anymore. Too many crooked cops, too much bad going on here.
You can't dive in without it falling over.
So his body was found like
it's not possible.
His hands were to his side.
Yeah, like that.
He's like, it's not possible.
It's not possible to fall in that way because who's in.
And any smart kid would knock the mat over to get the shit.
By the way, he was taller than that. He was taller than the mat. Stood about this high.
So really?
Yeah. So that's why we think the story is impossible.
It's impossible.
Yeah. Right. We got the raggediest, sorriest police. They so doggone sorry out here. I don't know
Why do you say that?
At all. I mean, it's all police because they got power. All police have too much power and they act like they're above people. Like they don't have to answer to nothing. They got their own set of rules.
Yeah.
They're like, you just regular people, man.
Yeah.
You know the way they talk to citizens and stuff, and they talk to everyone like they're criminals.
But in 1918, there was a period which was called the Week of Terror. That Week of Terror have been known around the nation when 15 to 25 blacks were murdered outright. One of the most important or most highly visible cases was the Mary Turner lynchings, wherein Mary Turner, a young black girl, was her husband, Hayes Turner, was lynched. And she made a statement that if she could find the people that had her husband killed, that she would fight to ensure that they were prosecuted to the highest extent of the law. And when they heard that, the white mob members went wild in this area, and they cut the baby from her abdomen, and the baby fell on the ground. The Crisis magazine, a reporter from the NAACP reported that the white mob member took the heel of his boot and crushed the head, all the life out of that child. And that is something that, in fact, in most places that story is written, they say it was the most gruesome, inhumane act ever committed in a civilized nation. This was in 2004. I saw a disgraceful Valdosta City Charter that was placed up there in City Hall on the second floor. It said that the mayor and council shall pass all proper and necessary laws and ordinances for the control of slaves and free persons of color, and to control, suppress, and abate all nuisances. So when you look back at that, and you look in comparison to those statements that was written in that charter back in 1860, now we are finding out that much of the information about KJ, that death, and getting information from the system here in the state of Georgia it seems as if though they're still trying to control, suppress, and abate. And so
They don't want to see what?
They don't want to see nobody make it.
Is that, do you think, like being from Valdosta, do you guys see that a lot?
Yeah. We used to stay in Hudson Beckett, so we seen that every day. Police stop us just for being on the corner. So it ain't nothing new, but that, they took it to the extreme. One day me and my cousin was walking from school. We go to PLC. It's like right there in front of us. So we walking home from school and we just walking, our pants up and all, police just stopped. He was like, where y'all going? I was like, to the house. Obviously we just got out of school. So he was like, oh, where y'all stay? I told him where we stayed. He was like, so what y'all doing on this street? The street is just right there. Our street, you gotta walk and then it's like a circle in the middle. So you gotta go through that too. You just harassing us for no reason. Basically, you just messing with us just because of our skin color. That's how I look at it. Racism.
In our special section, you know that Georgia section, they used to call it the Georgia Rim, and now I still call it that.
I guess get in the left lane when you can.
Only one teacher emailed me back just to say, I don't know anything, I don't know how you have my email. Right, then we're not going to just stroll up and get something.
yeah.
Like I said, I haven't been to the funeral home since this summer to talk to the workers about Kendrick Johnson. And at that time, they were more open to talking about, the whole situation. But now, like you said, with the investigation, I can just feel something come over me just then that is something's not right. Well, when the second autopsy came out, the results, which was the private autopsy that the family had done, when it came back, this doctor said that the body was full of newspapers. So the question came, so how did his body and his organs were missing? Let's not forget that. So his organs were replaced with newspapers. So now the next question was, so what happened to his organs and who put the paper in his body? So what Harrington Funeral Home told the family in a statement was that that's how they received the body, with no organs.
I'm Jacquelyn and Johnson. I'm KJ's mom.
I'm Kenneth Johnson, KJ's father. We all are a close-knit family. And he was always the person of the house that everyone, is looking forward for Kendrick. He's just a big part of the family that's gone.
He was a good student. I didn't never have to go out to schoolhouse by him being in no trouble. He played basketball, football, and track. And he ran track, but football was his passion. He just did the other two to stay in shape.
All us get together, crack jokes. If we're not cracking jokes, we wrestling through the house, getting cussed out by her because we playing in the house and stuff like that. But we always had fun.
Recount the day that you found out what happened, Kendrick. How did that day go, and how did you hear about it?
Well, I was already at school when they found him, so it was just devastating.
I was in Pennsylvania when I found out. That was a long trip back home.
I know that in response, you guys have been on the street every day on the corner outside the courthouse. Could you go into what you guys have been doing and how you guys decided to do that? What was the process?
Well, just to keep the community informed, keep it out that, this was real, this did happen, and we won't stop until we get justice, because that's the main purpose, is to keep pushing, and then let them know that we are not going anywhere until we get justice.
What has the response of the community been in seeing you guys out there every day and hearing about the case?
It's some good and some bad, but it don't matter. I mean, that was our child, so we're going to stay right there and push. If we don't push, who else is there to push? That was our baby. Well, I'm kind of disappointed because I felt like if you were a true friend, I don't care how much they told you to hush, you wouldn't hush. Because if it was KJ, they couldn't have got him to hush.
Johnson, I know you worked for the Lowndes County school system. How did it make you feel like this place that you worked for and have put in countless hours, and for them to kind of turn their back on you? What did that feel like?
But I felt betrayed, hurt. I've been there over 10 years and they slammed the door in my face.
How much community support was that, or just from the school, was that the funeral?
It was a couple of bus drivers there, but no school officials were there. None of his teachers were there. Some of the middle school teachers but no one from the high school came and supported us. We had people pass by the corner telling us to go home, and it was an accident, so let that child rest. But we know our child.
You to let that child rest?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we know our son, so it ain't no stopping no matter what they say.
But they do that when the light turned green, and as they pursue through the light. So we had our daughter's supposed to have to walk, but they wouldn't let our daughter walk.
Why?
They didn't get no apparent reason. They just wouldn't let her walk.
What did they say?
She couldn't walk.
What was how did she feel about that?
Well, we know the reason why they didn't want us to walk, and they didn't want us there. So
she was hurt. She wanted to walk, and this was her last subject. She just had to get that one part in the test, and she did it. So why didn't she have the right to walk? Everybody else that have a part to complete, once they complete it, they get to walk. So why wasn't she? Because her brother got killed. She didn't kill nobody.
Have you talked with any of the other parents of children that go there? How are they still comfortable with sending their kids to school, knowing that there's someone walking around that school that knows something or that had a hand in it?
Well, all I can say is they still sending them. So it's like a light didn't go on when our son got killed in school. So if you were concerned and you know how they lied, you wouldn't send your child back to that school under no circumstances. So
always stand for what you believe in, no matter what someone tells you. If you believe in it, you stand. Because, if you don't stand for what you believe in, you do nothing. Especially when you know you're right. Don't let no one tell you you're wrong, no matter what.
And if you know something, or know of anybody that hurt Kendrick, come out and tell the truth.